at least for me, like it's for me personally, it's difficult to kind of see where electronic music can bring you when you just listen to it on your phone or like speakers at home. I think the first great experience is when you hear it in a club and have all the vibes with like the lights, the DJ, the people, the energy, like kind of the
sound system.
The sound, obviously, the sound system, like music where you're used to, but like sometimes the inspiration is not there. So maybe it's going to be outside, and maybe this noise or whatever this thing, this construction, it's going to make you more focused in some way.
All right, and we're good. Adrien, thank you for coming here.
Thank you for receiving me, bro.
It's a huge honor to have you here.
It's been a long time coming.
Long time coming. Yeah. For those that don't know, we've been talking for like a few years.
2 years, something like that, yeah.
A few years at this point. Just online, just sharing music and just appreciating each other's work.
Exactly.
And then I've been dreaming of having you here for a while now, and the fact that it's happening all full circle now for you to be here. For those that don't know, we started working with the agency that he just joined, Chevry.
Like 4 or 5 months ago.
Yeah, 4 or 5 months ago. And when I saw that, so actually when that announcement happened was the night that I met Baptiste and all these guys.
Shit. So everything,
And they were all
everything
night.
made sense, yeah?
They were all night talking about this new artist that they're just adding on.
Oh, they didn't tell you the name
They
though.
didn't tell me the name. So I was just like, oh, cool. Like, they're just doing their thing.
Yeah.
And then I go home, and then I'm just scrolling on Instagram, and I see your name pop up with their logo.
Yeah.
And I immediately text you, Baptiste. And
I know, bro.
Like, yeah, dude, I was like...
I see the comments like, we need to get you in Bali. I'm like, for sure.
We need to get you, and now it's here.
Yeah, dude, it's good.
And now
it's
it's
good.
here.
It's good.
So for me personally, it's been such an honor.
Thank you, man.
Pleasure
Thank you.
I've been showing your work to almost all my friends that I share the same music passion with, as well as a lot of my friends that I meet along through this musical journey. They all have huge respect for you.
Man, thank you, man. I appreciate that, bro.
And one thing that like I've noticed not only with yours but with like Chevry's producers, they're incredibly talented and incredibly eclectic.
Yeah.
So I would love to know how you first started getting into production as well.
Dude, production, I think it started approximately when I was just like the idea of producing music on the computer.
Mm-hmm.
And thinking about music in a bigger span, just not like just playing instruments. It started when I was actually studying in the UK, like in a boarding school.
Oh, really?
I did from 2000. What did I do? 2010 to 2016 or 15.
Mm-hmm.
I went to UK boarding school up in north of the UK.
Okay.
And there wasn't much to do, and obviously in the boarding school, so during the weekends you got to kind of stay there. I mean, there was some stuff to do, but kind of have to get entertainment and stuff like that. So I started producing then.
Damn.
And it was mostly at the time it wasn't electronic music, because at the time it was like maybe 2013. It was like Avicii was the big thing. David Guetta was still a big thing, and there's
SoundCloud stuff.
Yeah. So I was at the time, I was like, okay, I was more into like hip hop.
Okay, cool.
So like,
yeah.
It feels like it's more of the standard route, but it's just like making hip hop beats, and making good hip hop beats is difficult, but just like simple like hip hop beats is like, I think is the kind of the first step into music production, right?
Did you start on FL Studio?
No, it was Ableton.
Oh, you immediately started in Ableton.
Yeah, immediately Ableton, and like the classic kind of taking the sample from a song that you like, and like chopping it, and like just adding like the kind of hip hop trap beat, adding like a bass or whatever.
Were you more into like old school hip hop or new school?
Dude, both, but like I would say more old school.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, absolutely more old school.
Yeah, okay, cool.
And I think in 2012 and 13, what was it? I think hip hop was in the state where the new school was good, but I think it was Kendrick, it was ASAP Rocky and all that. So it was really good, but I think you still had the pool in the old school and the OGs basically from the 90s. Now we got into new level in hip hop, and I think hip hop also has gone down, and electronic music has gone up.
Way up.
So that's good for us.
Yeah.
So more into
definitely for us.
Right. So
that's how I started as well. With all hip hop culture and everything. I have a huge book about Jay Dilla over there.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. He's one of my biggest inspirations. And I grew up in I went to school in Chicago for a bit. So all this like Questlove and all this like different soulful type of hip hop. That was for me. Tribe Called Quest in New York and all this stuff was like
De La Soul.
De La Soul, yeah. So I grew up on a lot of that, at least in my formative years.
What you went to like Chicago for like university or like high school?
For university.
Okay.
And then that's where I learned more about hip hop, and then that's how I also got introduced to house music.
And Chicago, the birthplace.
So I worked for Trax Records.
Oh, nice.
For like a small summer.
Fire, man.
Dude, yeah, and I had this radio show, and the dude before me was this dude called Michael Serafine.
Okay.
And he's just like this Chicago house legend. Because you're big in the vinyl scene, and we'll talk about that more. But do you know Gramophone Records?
Yeah, absolutely.
So he's the owner.
Okay, yeah. But the tell me the name again.
Michael Serafine.
That definitely rings a bell.
Yeah. So he was the dude. He was the dude that was playing before our radio show, and this was at the time we were still playing like Disclosure and all this stuff. And he was like, we would just pop in early and just hear what he has to play, and I was just like, whoa, this is different.
You're like, none of the hip hop stuff now. What's that?
Yeah. I was like, okay, I get it.
Okay.
But yeah, so you transitioned from hip hop into electronic music.
Yeah. Dude, so I think it was that. So that I just like finished boarding school. I had 1 year in Belgium, where I was living there for 1 year, and we're working like as an intern in the art gallery.
Yeah, really.
So that was good, and I think electronic music is something obviously you experience when you go to. I think most of the time when you go into a club, right? It's hard,
especially in Europe.
Especially in Europe. At least for me, for me personally, it's difficult to kind of see where electronic music can bring you when you just listen to it on your phone or like speakers at home. I think the first great experience is when you hear it in a club and have all the vibes with like the lights, the DJ, the people, the energy, like kind of the
sound system,
the sound, obviously the sounds, like everything. So it was there, and I think in Belgium at the time, and still is, there's this club and legendary club, I think in Europe, been open since the 90s. It's called Fuse Club.
Okay.
It's a legendary club in Belgium, and they had they're still open. At the time they were bringing a lot of techno, so the entry point was more techno. Again, classic route, right? And it's at the time you could see like Tale of Us, but doing like a set,
the minimal, really stripped
but really good.
Yeah.
I saw like Magda still doing really good stuff, but like you'd see like all these like great artists. And we would go there every weekend. We actually go there like twice a weekend sometimes. So it was good times and good times. So that's when I kind of transitioned, and that's when I continued. And I think that's when I continued and like made more like productions like on Ableton, and thought about it a little bit more. But I was still discovering. And I think this summer then I also went to Berlin, which is a kind of classic place, and like
you gotta go once. It's like a pilgrimage.
Yeah, it's pilgrimage, bro. And then since then I go there like 2-3 times a year all the time, and this is very. I mean, it's very honest, and it's the vibe of Berlin. It's like it's really good, and
it's so sick.
And what was I gonna say? And so it was kind of this summer. We just kind of I was living 1 year in Belgium, and then the summer came, and I went there. Like, I went to Berlin, I went to Amsterdam, and so forth. And then in September, when summer ended, I was going to university in New York. So like it was a whole transition. But I came to New York, and I was just okay. I just spent like a year kind of like listening to like all this like electronic music, like techno and house music as well, and all of that. still kind of new to me, but it had taken over like kind of the. I mean, I still listen to a lot of hip hop, just like I love that, but like it's just taken over what I was producing.
Yeah.
And then you kind of go into New York, and then it's like a whole new world. I mean, you were in Chicago, I was in New York. It's a whole new world, and it's like you kind of meet the kind of the people who created that in the East Coast of New York. Although today, fortunately, sometimes they're kind of forgotten by the scene.
Yeah. A lot of like the elsewhere people.
Yeah,
and all this stuff.
Yeah. Just like all of them. Kind of. I feel they're a little. I mean,
Razor and Tape is from New York, right?
Yeah, yep. Razor and Tape. And what was I gonna say, and yeah, so then it was there, and then it was a whole new experience in New York, where it was very different from Europe, where in Europe everything was already established. You had a scene from the 90s that came from the US, but like so you had something established. I came to New York that was very that had this club called Output.
Okay.
And it closed down the first year. It was really good, really nice club, really good club. It had been there for 5-6 years, like legendary club. It had opened, I think, in the 2008, 2009, and then it closed in 2015, 16. So it had been the transition of the old school and the new school electronic music, and I think it closed down because I think the scene for electronic music in the US with like all these really like mega stars of hip hop artists took over the billboard, like Kendrick Lamar, like the EP done in 2012, which has like Money Trees and all that. Became huge at ASAP Rocky. So like there was like no room for electronic music, and like people didn't really like, in my generation, our generation, going to college, they weren't educated in that. So they were just like, I would bring them, and they were like, what is that? What is this music? Like we don't get it. We never heard about it before. And I was like, actually, it's from here. They didn't get it.
It's weird that it was like forgotten and everything.
Right.
But did you find things and people that were into it?
So I did find like really open-minded people that, obviously in New York, so you very open-minded people, and obviously you had like all these clubs and these record stores, like A1 record stores, like Human Head, and so they're still existing, and you still have like this community. So yeah, people were interested, and I definitely met and started doing collaboration parties with like specifically with a friend of mine from Italy.
Okay, cool.
Paolo, he will know.
Paolo.
And
shout out Paolo.
Shout out to Paolo. It was his birthday yesterday. Cheers to you, bro.
Cheers to you, bro. Super cool.
Yeah. And so sick. And we made parties, like we did things in elsewhere. You said
very
we did.
Cool.
We did what else? TBA Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Good Room.
Okay.
So all these clubs that are still open today. Maybe the direction went, artistic direction went differently, but at the time, it was what it was, and it was good, man. It was good, and things were like going well for us with like our last year. Like we're doing bigger parties, and we're like super happy, and like we're really bringing like this community of students, and also more, and then COVID happened, so big break,
Boom.
And then back to front, yeah.
That was, for me, also the sweet spot when I was in the US, because it was like the same. I was there from 2016 to 2020.
Exactly. I think it was the same age.
Same, and then it was like, it was not like commercial as it's not how it is now, but that was like a really sweet spot of going out because it felt like, whoa, this is something special.
Exactly.
This is something special.
Yeah, exactly.
I had the same, like the same friends going out every week to the same place. Maybe twice a week.
Exactly, bro.
And it was just like, dude, what are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing? This is strange. This is strange.
What is that?
Like you get that, like some places you get that like secret location party, and then you get the text the day night, the night of the event, and then you go there and you're just like, I'm in some warehouse in Brooklyn or the outskirts of Chicago, and you're just like, whatever. Like, you're just with your friends and you're just like, let's have a good time.
And I'm interested to knowing, and how was this because I've never been to Chicago, but I was always interested to know how was you were living there for 4 years, like it's the birthplace, obviously. How was it like from 2016 and 2020, like, you know? So
there's a very prominent, strong niche community there, like diehard house fans,
but like older than us.
Older than
like
us.
In the 40s, 50s.
Exactly. And what was big when I was there, what was like in the, let's say like the kind of like the alternative clubs was kind of like this like stripped down old school Tale of Us and all these like who are now really big, but at the time they were kind of the underground at the time.
Yeah, exactly, man. It always goes like that.
But so we would go there and experience all this kind of like Middle Eastern and European type of electronic music, like Nicholas Jar and all these dudes. And then, but the after parties would be at these like kind of true house music, Detroit style events where you're just going to some secret location or in some dungeon, whatever, basement or whatever this may be. And you're seeing some like people that are just super into it. Like, so the club was cool because it's a good place to like be with all the friends, but like this is where you saw like the people who were there for like Die Hard. And then that time that I got to work for Trax Records in Chicago, then I saw like the rooted community. I saw the rooted community who would support each other, and they've been supporting each other for years, like 20 years. And that was what was cool. It's like there's an actual culture. It's a bit like, it was a bit segregated in like the communities that weren't in the center. Cause like these were like free events and stuff purely just for the sake of it. But all these clubs are running for money, right?
Yeah.
So it's like these were like die hard. We're gonna do it no matter what. We're gonna find some place. So in like a park down in south side of Chicago, like you could go there and they would be playing like just all these old records, all these like classic house records, and there would be people digging it. It might not be like hundreds, but it would be 30 banging people. It'd be 30 like, you know that feeling you always say, it's like, yeah, it's great to play with for a lot of people, but like
when you have like 30 or 50 or 100, it's like a really good vibe. Like it's really like, you know,
that's
unbeatable kind of vibe, yeah?
Exactly. And then like even if you're playing at some bar or some place in like the central Chicago, one or two people who would pop in, you could tell.
Yeah.
You could tell that they're part of this like community and this culture, and that was one of the coolest feelings to see. And then as I worked with Trax, I got to see more of the history, and then seeing Gramophone and becoming friends with the people involved. I was like, wow, this is they've been doing this for decades.
Dude, yeah. And actually, fun fact, we were talking about the guy from Trax Record.
Yeah.
I think it was on his Facebook direct page. We were talking like
yeah.
They kind of like, but on the Trax Record. And he was like, man, if you want to release a track, like a digital, go for it.
Yeah.
So we were going to do it, and then like, I don't know why it didn't happen, but yeah, I mean, obviously legendary label.
Yeah, legendary label.
With Larry Heard and everybody, so it's really really good. But yeah, man, that must have been something interesting. It's interesting the US because I was just there for a tour in the US and
recently, right?
Yeah, like a month ago.
Yeah,
then no tours. Then chilling, man. Chilling in Europe, bro. No. So that was really good. I didn't be in the US for 2 years. And the scene completely changed from when I left in 2020. It's blowing up. Like the more commercial, like more like high end stuff, but also the underground. Like everything is pushing upwards.
Yep.
So like, man, like I went to Atlanta.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I've never been to the place, and the music brought me there. And it was really good. Really good. Like the scene, the party was really good. Like the organization were really good. It's Yee Records.
Yee Records.
Gabriella, she will Shout out. Thank you. It was a great party. She knows that. No, she received me really well. It was good to go to kind of not these kind of standard, not standard, but like bigger cities that are known like Chicago, New York, LA, whatever. It was Atlanta, which is really, really, really big. But it's just like so interesting that there was this niche of culture of this music there, and they were like very like detailed and focused, and there was people dancing for that, and knowing and like collecting records or whatever, and like knowing what's going on.
Super boutique, like very boutique. North Carolina, I heard.
North Carolina and Charlotte, apparently.
Yeah, and Charlotte has a
man.
really good scene. Like, you're just like, what?
There's this one club, I can't remember the name, but like everybody's like, a lot of people are playing there, and you're seeing like footage, and you're like, oh man, that looks really good. But yeah, no, it's good. And Miami, but Miami's always been a little different because it's always been kind of there with Miami Music Week and everything.
And now a lot of the industry, because it's focused in house music, and now Miami Music Week is you're seeing now what used to be underground labels, but now you're seeing like East Enders, You and Me, all these people taking up all the big clubs.
Yeah.
Which is
they are, man.
You're here. You have like all these like 10 different like used to be weird, or I guess still weird to an extent. And now taking up the biggest clubs in the US.
Exactly. No, that's good. No, that's totally correct and accurate. When I saw that, which is a good thing, because they're it's kind of funny in some ways that like this. Commercial electronic music, how would you call it? Mainstream, like Avicii and all that stuff, is completely dead.
It's dead.
Like it doesn't exist anymore.
Dude, no.
It's either like the hard techno, or like the tech house for You and Me, for example.
Yeah.
And more underground, like in the middle of everything. But like, I don't know.
Ben Rao, when we interviewed him, he actually told us there was a change, especially in Beatport. They took off EDM from Beatport.
Dude, I haven't been Beatport in like years.
But I think because a lot of people just still buy tunes on there.
No, absolutely.
But I think that was
the
like a shift. Exactly. The shift when that kind of dissipated. I mean, it's still... I'm sure it's still huge and has this whole thing now. EDM. Mm-hmm. But
EDM, that was the word.
And then now it's just so focused on building up this... house and tech house and all these subgenres of this type of music. So it's really cool to see. I think what's really unique, and I'd love to know more your thoughts about it, is the fact that it has become industry. It is a good and a bad thing. Of course, good and a bad thing in the sense that a lot of people feel like, oh, now it's like too big, blah, 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 blah. You hear about all this.
Yeah.
But the fact that it's an industry shows that people can actually make a living off this.
Absolutely, man.
And I'd love to know more your thoughts about that and how you transitioned. Are you fully in music now?
So I'm doing transition. I'm still working. I still have like a 6 months to work. Still in the wine business, which
really cool.
Yeah. So I'm
Santé.
Santé. Okay, bring the wine over.
Bring the wine over. Natural wine. Natural wine.
Bring it over. But yeah, no, it's it's true. It's true that it's been kind of like some people might be like, oh, it's not like our little gift, our little community anymore. It's kind of like you have a kid and then the kid becomes an adult and you kind of have to let it go.
Let it go. It's gonna make its own decisions now and all this stuff.
So like, it's evolving and that's undeniable and that's what's happening, and that, I think ultimately that's really good for the scene.
Yeah.
Because it's not like people are, like you said, people are making a living, and I'm going to make a living out of it. Like in 6 months, when I just do that. So I'm super grateful. That people are just like community, just like you, for instance, bringing me here and like having all this discussions before. It's actually making people live like financially, but like also in their passion and
exactly
emotionally, and just bringing everybody together. So like we said, it's like everything is pushing upwards.
Yep.
And there's always going to be some hate when people are at the top.
Exactly.
Always. Yeah. So you're always going to have some people say, man, but this or that, this and that.
Yeah.
But like, when you see like the grand scheme of everything, you just realize it's all positive. And if people are able to eat, get some money, ultimately that's the most important. And I think I'm happy it's going this way. I'm happy it's going this way because like remember when we were like in the US, although we didn't know each other, but we were kind of living the same time. I was like, it's not going to become big. This kind of music, like it's going to stay underground.
No way.
There's no way.
There's no way, or you just gotta be super crazy good or successful or something like that. Something has to happen. Luck has to really come into play.
Like at the time, like the big ones were like all the guys from Fuse London. They were making like a bigger room. And now obviously like they Archie Hamilton at the time and still today, but big, very famous now. But when he was much younger, not much younger, but I guess like 10 years ago basically.
They're like the new. I don't want to say pop stars. I don't want to say pop, but they're the new stars.
Yeah.
The amount of people that are so influenced or inspired by Enzo Siragusa.
Yeah.
And that are
great, like really nice guy by the way.
Really cool.
Really nice guy humanly.
Really? Oh, cool.
Yeah,
super cool.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people that are like 16, 18, 17 looking up to these guys.
Yeah.
So they've become kind of like the pinpoint, and these guys want to be like them, whether it be from a music perspective or a label perspective, but also as like makes them think like, oh, I'd love to like make my own record label. And it's like, which you have done.
Yeah.
And for a lot of people, that was not an option before. They didn't see it as like part of what you got to do in your career, which now I think a lot of people, if I were to make my own analysis, like got to make your own label or own event,
which you have,
which we, knock on wood, thankfully have.
Link will be right here.
Right here.
Click right here.
Right here, please. Yeah, like before it was just like something that people never thought that would be part of their direction, of what they wanted to do. For me, and I want to hear what you went through, but for me, it was more just like, dude, like I don't want to wait on someone to just discover me.
Bro, you said it, man. No, it's that, and it's just like there's this feeling. It's just like, and like let's say you said a bunch of demos, and that's what happened to me personally. It's just like, so they're like, man, this is a great project. We want you on the label, but it's going to be out in literally like 24 months. So we're talking about 2 years.
Yeah.
So you're like, but that's a great label. So like you wait. And you do sign, okay, and then 2 years later, this thing comes out. But in the meantime, you release like 2-3 EPs. And like this thing is gonna come out, and you like it, and that's the goal, is that you still like your music throughout the whole time. But like, especially at the beginning, if you at the early stages of the career, everything changes a lot. Like, I think if it's one of your first EPs that you're releasing, after 24 months, you're gonna look at it and be like, maybe I would have changed this, maybe I'm not sure about this track. And when it's released, you don't get this hype anymore, and you also waited 24 months. So it's just like at the end of the day, you're like, okay, just like,
dude, you're a different person.
Yeah, exactly. It's exactly.
What was 2 years ago? There's differences in who I am now.
Exactly. I mean, you can just see the example, like 2019 before COVID, after COVID 2021, like a lot of people changed, everything changed.
Yeah.
Right. So, and it was kind of the feeling of so a friend of mine from he's from the south of France, close kind of the border from Spain, and he's been doing this record label, a few actually, which I released. It's like called Productioin.
Okay.
It's like a release. It's like a green record. We did a split EP like 4 years ago, and just called him, and I was like, so man, can you explain how you do it and everything? And he gave me the name of his distribution in Spain. The homie Mark, shout out to Mark. And a great guy, and became a friend, obviously. Been working since, so he has this distribution, right?
Yep.
In Barcelona. And it was very simple, man. We're just on the phone. I was like, I have these 4 tracks where you feel it's like, this is great. If you have the artwork, obviously, if you have the money, because that costs.
Yep.
It can be released in 3-4 months. So in
Done.
3-4 months, you'll have your own label, your records, if you want to do records, or or now you can just do it digitally, but that would take it could be released in the next week, tomorrow.
Yeah.
So, but that's a different kind of way of pushing and
Exactly.
marketing tracks, music, and it was just that simple.
Yeah.
It was just that simple. And kind of the idea of like making a physical copy, like a record, that was kind of this heavenly idea became true.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And the first one, it's like, true, you can do it yourself.
Dude.
Yeah.
I just did it the first time you hold it.
You receive the test press, you listen, you're like, man, this is crazy. You're like, oh yeah, and then you receive the thing, and then people buy, and you're like, this shit is working.
You're like, whoa.
Exactly.
This is possible.
No, exactly.
How did that change you when that first happened?
Dude, it was just like this, and it was just like, man, like like you don't have to wait on anybody in the sense that you don't have to. You can just be like more independent.
Yep.
And how you want to release your music, and also working within the market and how people consume music today.
Yep.
Whether you like it or not, I think there's like 1 million track release every week.
Yeah.
Or some shit like that.
Yeah.
Which is
Some
nuts.
absurd number.
Or like maybe like every 2 weeks, but it's just like absurd number. So like, how could you work this thing out and be an artist that can still like live out this with this music and get paid, and etc. And it's impossible to make it if you got to wait 2 years or a year and a half to get your record released, and then you have your change of taste, and then you're not so happy with this record, and then the direction kind of goes in different ways, and then so like it kind of gives you like, you have a timeline, like if you make 12 tracks, or if you invite people in your record, mix and match, you can maybe put out 3 records a year. There's 6 records every 2 years, 9, 10, and then you go on, and then after 5 years you made like 16, 17, and you've created like a whole community, people that want to.
You can create however many you want.
Exactly.
Which is the crazy part.
You can do what you can even do ones that that are just like maybe a little bit left field and not going to work so much, but screw it.
Yeah, just do it.
And people will buy it, and then you can do whatever you want. Like there's not going to be like a label owner is going to be like, I mean, it didn't happen to me, but I've heard of other people where they're like, oh, actually, can you tweak like the pad here, or like the string here, and you just like, but it's just like, that's my music, so whether you like it like this, or like we choose another track,
you accept it for what it is, or you
you don't use it, and we just use another track. So man, I think at the moment where the label happened, I think it changed the whole thing for me, because it was more being independent, creating a brand, a community.
Exactly.
And that's like, that was the most important. And like, dude, so many people don't know it's me behind Stay at Home.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so many.
That's cool though.
Yeah, so many. They're like,
I've been having the same with Dunia. Like the brand has started speaking for itself.
yeah, people, oh, you going about it? You going Dunia? He's like, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And then you're just like popping out. It's me. It's me, guys.
It's really cool and a weird thing because it's like you are so in it, and then to see other people following it or knowing about it or hearing about it and have zero clue of who you are. I mean, that's what creating like a fan base and what a brand or your own community is really what it is about. And I'm sure you feel it, but it's like for us, it's not about the person. It's about what the thing represents, whether it be the music or everything that it entails. So it's really cool to see that ascension.
Dude, absolutely. I mean, it's making people, and obviously, with this more digital world, things get easier. Obviously, there are some parts that can hurt the music business industry in some ways, but like it also can help you. And having being more independent and being more flexible as an artist, having less like middlemen, like people that can rule you out, whatever. it makes you more free, and you can have a clearer vision of what your brand is going to look like, or is going to supposed to look like, and that's really nice, because you don't have like back in days, or even back in days 20 years ago, whatever. This, if you're a rapper or like, I don't know, like a disco, pretty famous artist, you had to get a record label, and then the record label kind of guided you. Like, I don't like this track. You should change that. Actually, you don't look good, so you get plastic surgery.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
There's things. There
are things like that. You know,
I think people don't. People underestimate, or maybe estimate, and that's why they don't do it. How many people will say no?
Exactly.
Right? How many people will say no? But at the same time, people also aren't sure of how much work it is to make your own thing. So I think it's really about choosing which path you want, and sometimes it has to be both.
Sometimes it has to be both.
Sometimes it has to be both.
I
think the reality for a lot of the time is you got to do both. But you'll find that one is much more liberating.
Absolutely.
You know, than finding out those yeses. Mm-hmm. You know, just really staying true to what you want to do, and kind of figuring out the best way that you can do it and deliver it and bring it to people is a much more satisfying challenge to fulfill than like, who's going to respond to my email.
Yeah, dude, this is horrible.
Yeah, right.
And I try to respond to people who want to sign on the label, and because it's like sometimes you have no replies, and just,
yeah.
I mean, you know, when maybe like when you send tracks to like, you know, as demos to like labels, most of the time no replies.
No, like, you just like 99%.
There's no replies, man. And I try to listen and give replies.
Do you get a lot of submissions now?
Yeah, I get quite a lot of submissions.
Oh, nice.
I try to reply to most of them, and we stay in touch. And but I try to sign kind of not the same people, but kind of bring like the little community I was kind of raised in Paris. Kind of like bring them all together, and not just like picking, because it's great music everywhere. But kind of it's also a project that I've done based on music, but also like, you know, in some ways it created like friendships. So like, you know, like I've signed this great artist called Calvet from France. So he signed twice on the record. And he's coming to play with me at Dias del Campo, the festival.
Okay. Really cool.
We have the stay-at-home stage, so it's in 3 weeks. So kind of bringing the community, and just so that's good. So it's just kind of like, so I do reply to people. I try to give them feedbacks, and sometimes I do sign them when it's out of nowhere. But I also try to keep an eye out on who I've signed before, and try to bring a community within the label.
Yep. Because that's what will make it stronger.
Exactly. And then, you know, they you know, it's a community, and like people like feel part of it. And then you see with like today's label, like friends of mine, like Airfun, for example.
Yeah.
Friends of mine, they sign other people, but they always
try to keep it in their ecosystem as well. It's
always the same ecosystem. So that's what I felt as well for me, and that's important. And also the listeners, like the people who are going to listen, and they also see, like they're like, oh, this guy, it makes sense with this label. Like, we've seen him before, it makes sense, and it's good. So it's kind of giving the chance to both parties, like newcomers, old comers, and kind of having this balance. Yeah.
And I think especially when it's your own thing, you wanna bring someone or some music that understands you as well.
Exactly.
And that takes time. Yeah. Overall, and I think we're still at like it's still like, how long have you been running this record label? A few years?
2 years and a half. Something
exactly.
Like that, yeah.
Like.
It's not a lot. It's not a lot. It's very. It's not a lot.
Like we were talking about Fuse. How long Fuse has been here since 2008 is what they put on their established. But I'm sure they've been together, hanging out. Like the dudes have been together for longer. But like
not to get confused with the club. It's
Fuse London instead of Fuse
Belgium, which is a club, and then the collective.
Yeah. They've been here for now 17 years. So now they have that reach where they can get all these submissions and these people to understand and resonate with their music with 17 years worth of culture.
Absolutely, man.
And I think that's we're in such a beginning that it makes sense to keep it close.
Exactly.
To keep it close and especially build people around you that like, you know, like for me there was like people who were really close and like did all the like organizing events and whatnot with me, but they've just like started getting the hang of producing, and then like you believe in them as a person and you believe that they have the potential and like working on it, and you push it until finally, okay, there it is, and that's what you want to put on because it's like that's that community and that's that relation that will build a very strong foundation.
So for example, you know, like when you get, and I think we all went there, when you get into these which are great but kind of like digital VAs for artists where you're like 20. It seems that you sign into them and then like the label's, oh, thank you for the track, and then you never hear about the label ever again. And then you even forget that you released there. You're like, actually, you know, I released there, right?
Dude, I have a funny story. I'll tell you. I can't say it for the guy. I have a funny story about this topic, but yeah.
But you know what I mean? It's exactly. It's kind of trying to build, like, it's kind of giving chance in both parties, but kind of like you said about Fuse London, like how they brought like a handful of people all together, and now they're all mega stars, right?
Yeah, they're all mega stars.
I think the Ben Raw that is from Fuse, kind of. Kind of, but it's the same homies. Same homies. So exactly. Like, you know, like
they all kind of were like coming up together.
Yeah, they played for each other's party and stuff exactly. Like that. So yeah,
exactly.
And that is important. And yeah, so that's kind of the idea of the label, and it's the idea of being big emphasis on being kind of independent in how you want your music to be perceived.
Yep.
That's very, very important. And I tell people, you know, like it's everything. Like if you have any questions, it's in your reach.
Yep.
And you even have if the music is good, if you think the music is good, and normally people think their music is good, it's normal, you know. You can approach distributors, and they will like sometimes they will be like, okay, you know what, we like this project so much that you don't even have to put any down payment.
They'll help distribute.
Yeah, we'll pay for it, and then like, you know, we have a contract and figure out how you get paid and everything. So you even have this route, so you don't have this financial, because sometimes the financial side can be people, I can't put like 1,500 for 300
or
records.
I don't know if I'll make it back.
Exactly.
Or this and the other. There's risks. It's a business. It really is a business.
It is a business, right?
And that's what is like central to business, is taking risks. And
exactly, man.
It's the same thing. It's like, well, why should I make the investment of learning or taking a course, whether it be in Ableton or in music production or music theory or composition? Like, why should I? It's a risk.
It is all a risk.
It's a risk, but that's what the investment is trying to see what you're capable of.
Exactly.
And there's no better person for any individual to invest in other than themselves, right?
Well, that's exactly, bro. Exactly, bro. Someday, like, invest in yourself, man.
Invest in yourself. But that's what I found. For me personally, dude, like everyone was saying no. Everyone, whether it be
it's music, hard, man, because nobody replies, dude.
No one responds.
And you're like, is that any good?
Yeah. What am I doing with myself? What am I doing with myself?
It is tough.
So it really like pushes you, and for me use it as fuel. I use it as fuel to get more serious and figure it out. And every time that like someone said no, there's a chance for me to be like, all right, like it might not be for them, but there's something to take from that. And there's a chance where I can get better at something. And that's really what it took. It took a lot of no's to figure out which direction is best for me. Mm-hmm. And for me, it's really the independent route. And now it's a different thing, because now that I've shown the work I've done and what is capable, or the potential, and a lot of like some of the people that said no now come back, and that's also it was a funny feeling, because it's like before you didn't want to, but now you do. But it makes sense because before I was nothing. Like I didn't have much to offer, whether it be artistically or this, that, and the other, or at least what it may be perceived from someone else. But really working on yourself to get to a point where you have that, I guess, leverage to show to someone is really a beautiful thing. And I hope, now that we're living in an age where independence is so achievable for anyone with access to the internet and access to technology, it's incredible what it can do in terms of like liberation. And it's really cool. I mean, like, dude, like you can create content for yourself now. You can do all this. You can do all that. The outlets are all there, and you can do it all for yourself. And it's
exactly.
You'll find out if it will work.
Exactly. And it's good. It's good that you say that. I think it pushes people to. They know and they think now that it is possible, like, to kind of make it on your own. In some ways, you always need a community. You always need people. You always need the dancers and like the community. Mm-hmm. But like just kind of what we've been talking about, just purely like creating the music, production music. It's you can do it yourself, and you could, you have all the tools in hand to do it, and but it also takes to an idea of being built an entrepreneur,
Yep.
And not everybody's is made for that. Because so many things that you got to think about and a lot of risks. Having a record label can be a lot of financial risk, and it can be also a risk of your image or your music not hitting correctly the community of the people listening to your music. So there are a lot of things because nobody's checking you. You're the
you're the checker.
You're the checker. So if you make like a whack release, like nobody buys it, you have 300 records. You're like, man, what am I?
I just got a box full of
records. Yeah. And
it hits. But that's why I think what we were saying, you got to do both.
Yeah, exactly.
You got to do both to figure out what sticks, and one might progress first, but you might find that the other progresses in the longer run better. Mm-hmm. So you got to keep trying both and finding a balance. But the fact that there is both as an option now is really cool. And when was that moment for you when you realized, I think I can do this?
Man, I think I can do that like full time or like in general.
Just in general. Well, first when you were like, I have something special with this whole music thing.
I always knew that I was.
Did you play growing up?
Yeah. Okay. I'm very young. All my brothers played classical piano.
Okay.
Since like we started like super early, like 5, 6 until like 15, 16. So I've got this classical kind of background and guitar for like 6, 7 years. So I have the musical ear because obviously I've played it for so long. I don't play any instruments now. Actually, like sometimes I'm like in front of a keyboard or guitar, and I'm just like,
really?
And I'm like, dude, I'm not so good anymore. Like before.
But you're so okay.
But,
okay.
But it's more about knowing how to play a song. But like in terms, but since I've been brought up with like this classical and this music hearing, now when I'm in front of a computer and with the experience I got just producing. When I have an idea, I'm able to like put it out, and it sounds exactly like in my head. It sounds exactly on the speaker, so that's good.
Because that's what I was gonna say. I was like, it really sounds like you can play. You can play something.
No. I can play. It's just like I've completely lost the kind of classical idea of an instrument, of like being in front of your paper, playing piano, and just playing.
I grew up playing. My dad is a jazz pianist. Yeah. So I grew up playing music as well, but like as you said, like if you say play a few songs, I'll be like, I can probably play like not many,
exactly.
not to really impress you, but with that ear and that foundation to get output has been really fruitful, because it's been like you said, like I have something in my ear and I think I can put it out.
Yeah, and I mean. Exactly, and it really gives you a foundation support, like you said, in how you produce your music, and how it but there's also, it's really interesting because like you also have some other producers and artists that like never done any.
yeah.
And they're just so good at producing.
They're monsters.
So they're monsters. So you like kind of the idea of like it's innate thing.
Yeah.
It's like from within.
There is a soul part.
There's a soul part,
yeah,
and they just like, you know, although they're not like in terms of like the visuals, they're not like playing the piano. It's like beautiful. They're playing a lot of chords and everything. When you go in the studio, just play just maybe 2 fingers like that.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter. But like at the end, like when they show you the track, you're like wow. a person that just played piano for 20 years, like, man, how do you make that? It's beautiful. So there's a lot. I think half of it is like innate and getting inspired and having all the tools with the technology of today of being able to express yourself and having a vision and really kind of pushing kind of your innate kind of emotional like artistic self or soul, you know. So dude, so that's it's kind of this duality always, right? You go to the studio like the you know like you have both.
Yeah, of course.
You have both. So
So I'd love to know. Walk me through when you start making a song or when you have an idea of making a song. Through that entire process of finishing it, and then mix and master, and then choosing where to release it, or if you're gonna keep it on your own.
So dude, it's very simple. Like I finish a project, I'm like, okay, maybe I give myself a couple weeks to chill.
Oh
yeah. No, actually straight back to it. No, day after. No.
Because I'm like that.
No, it depends on the. No. It actually really depends. Like it depends on the inspiration and if the wine side of it, which is like the other job, takes a lot of room. Maybe I'll do that for a week and then I'll go back. But let's say that whenever I finish a project, I have an idea of hopping into a new one, and whether I want to do a solo project or like do various artists on the label, or do a split EP on the label. I don't really have like a way of like saying to myself, I'm going to make this kind of music. I kind of just hop in and try to get the inspiration. Inspiration, and it's kind of the same thing as the innate or the soul. It's not something you can explain. It just comes, and sometimes it's not there.
And
sometimes it's not there,
but you try, and you're like
you always have to try.
You always have to try, and you're just like, man,
I just spent 3 hours with nothing.
This is not good.
It's not good, dude.
Are you the type of person that needs to sit in some type of condition?
Dude, no. Me's been kind of the opposite of maybe other people. It's just like I used to have machines, and I used to have like a lot of shit, and now I kind of sold most of it, and I'm just very like I have a couple machines, but everything is very much digital.
Yeah.
So I have a MIDI, and it's very like it's very like minimalistic and kind of the idea of the studio. I don't have so many because the idea of having so many machines, and maybe people agree or don't agree, but it's just like myself. I was always doing. Playing along, playing a few machines, but not really building a track. Jamming. I was always jamming. But I was looping, but I was never. So I would do that 2-3 hours, and that's good, but I'm not so sure. But I'm using the machine, so it's nice and it sounds cool. And I wasn't focused in making the track. That's for me. And sometimes some people are like, oh, but it's not so fun.
Yeah.
But for me, it's more of an idea for myself to kind of push myself to find an idea, and I thought that having all these machines and like having to unplug and plug and being, oh man, I need to plug all these things for this machine, so that it just takes 5 minutes and then the thing doesn't work, and just like it was just everything in the computer, just like 1 or 2 machines, a MIDI keyboard, and good speakers, and obviously environment, man. Environment is key. Like environment is good, man. It's just like me being always in Paris or in Bordeaux, and kind of where I make music, it's great. But sometimes I need to go like somewhere else, like could be making stuff in the plane, in the train, in the TGV,
in the TGV, exactly.
And I think that's very important. So kind of having like moving everything away and very focused and having a few things, and the infinity of kind of the digital in some ways. You have like plugins that emulate exactly the same sounds than and the machines and having the MIDI and traveling and discovering new cultures and people, and I think that brings me the inspiration the most. And not being clustered in the studio for like weeks and like feeling anxious with all these piles of things and cables
and no change of scenery.
Change of scenery. That's a big one.
I'll tell you my biggest.
What is yours?
My favorite condition. Terrible conditions. I love terrible conditions.
As in
like outside where it's like super crowded, super noisy and everything, or like really cramped in some plane, like whatever.
I like the plane as well.
I love the plane, and I think I'm just a weird person. It was like, okay, if these conditions are bad enough, I have to make something that will make this pleasant.
That's funny, man.
Yeah. Like I gotta just like make something good.
But you said outside. Playing but outside, like in the bench
or like here in Bali, you have like. Or in other places you have a lot of like, let's say like construction.
Okay, so like noisy and
stuff. Like noise and all these people just like being rowdy, dogs or cats just like on you and everything, and then I'll just spill.
We've seen that, right?
You seen that?
No, I mean all the dogs.
Oh yeah, all the dogs and all this stuff. Yeah. So like, for some reason, sometimes the most ideal output I get is in conditions where it's not ideal. But I noticed that like over time, I was like, okay, cool. Like, really push myself to make something that will make this experience pleasant.
It's good. And also, I mean, what you're saying is that like being able to not be in, it's good to make music where you're used to, but like sometimes the inspiration is not there, so maybe it's going to be outside, and maybe this noise or whatever, this thing, this construction, it's going to make you more focused in some ways.
Yeah, exactly, because you're just like you're just trying to like not deal with the distraction, so you create your own distraction, and like all of your energy goes to that. But I think it's just a weird thing.
No, but I think it's interesting because I have a lot. Most people do it in their studio, and they have really good studio, and it's really good. And then sometimes like, oh man, that's a great studio. And then every time I've made that for myself, it was great. But I think you have it's important to change settings. Like especially when people just do music. They just kind of wake up like coffee, like 7, 8.
Sit on the desk.
Sit there the whole day. Seeing nobody. Talking to nobody. Just there, like in front of the screens and machines. You go nuts, you know. So I think being outside and kind of doing other things can help you in that. And then you also mentioned, and when do I know if this track is going to be good? Actually. Tell me what you think, but I know after a couple hours if it's gonna be a good thing or not, and if it's not, I delete the whole thing.
Oh, you delete it? You actually?
I just finish on my day.
And
I actually delete it. I can't have it. Like it's finished, it's gone, and then the next day I just like new like clean slate. I'm kind of the same way. I don't delete, but I never touch it again. Essentially, but sometimes maybe when you're in the plane and you're like, oh, what? Maybe I started something cool back in the days. Sometimes that can be good, but sometimes it is
good. And when I have those moments, it's usually when I'm cleaning my computer, like cleaning the files of my computer, and then you see all the old stuff that's there, and you're like, oh, what's this? Click it. But I try to. I'm the type of person that just can't go back on a project.
Yeah,
you get what I mean?
Like when it's been like a year, So I delete like most of the time. Sometimes I keep them. So I have projects where I just know like it's not gonna work. So I'm like maybe good.
Maybe.
And then you have the ones you're like, oh man, this is great, and great feeling by the way when you know it's a good one.
Yeah, when you know it's a good one.
Oh, you're like, oh yes. Maybe take a break for a second. You know. Yes.
Because especially the next day, it's like because you kind of forget how it kind of sounds like.
Dude, that's the best. Oh, dude. Yeah, dude, that's fucking nice.
And then, do you mix and master everything yourself?
So mix everything, and master. I do that with this guy called Nicola.
Okay.
And who's got this label called Cosmic Garden.
Garden.
Based in Bari, Italy, and
he's got the whole
Dude, he's so good.
Yeah.
Shout out to
Nicola.
my man. Thank you. And yeah, dude, he's great. Honestly, like I was just like, so he didn't do all the stay-at-homes. He's done the 3 lasts, and I've never said anything back. I was just like, dude, this sounds so good.
Yeah, this is it.
And I've recommended him to other people, and other people like a homie of mine from LA. And he was just like, I don't know where to do it, stuff like that. It's so expensive in the US. I was like, use this guy. It's normal pricing in Europe, but really good quality, and you will love it. And
really?
Yeah.
When you find that, that's like the best. When you find someone that just gets it.
Yeah, dude. And this is a guy who's been in the scene for a long time. He's like, he plays very housey, like classic house. Well, not classic house, more house, deep house.
Yeah.
Really good DJ and producer, and really within the scene. I mean, like most of the Italians are really good in this industry. Like they're killing it. You know, all subgenres, they're always there, man. The Italians for that. And yeah, it's just good when you have good people. I'm happy with my distribution. I have good distribution with my homie Mark, Papa Jam's distribution.
Mm-hmm.
And my master Nicola, and I'm just happy with all the people I'm working with, because they're easy to work with.
Yeah.
And you know, sometimes they don't have time, so I feel that I'm easy to work with. So like sometimes, you know, they say I don't have time this week, next week I'm chill. Sometimes, you know, Mark calls me like the records are going to be there next week, maybe the following week, but we all work really well.
Yeah. You have your team.
Yeah, and I've had a lot of other distributors and like bigger ones telling me, oh, you want to go with me and everything. I was like, I'll stay with Mark because it's just been, I started with him and it's just been so easy. So it's just I'm not trying to change, and especially when you hear other distribution that sometimes have so many artist labels. I mean. You know, they don't take the time for, it's because obviously they have so many, they don't take the time to really like take care of each label. Yeah. And I know
you don't want to become like a tiny like.
Exactly. And you don't want to know, and with it's nice to kind of have this idea of like having something,
build a strong relationship and like,
stay with them,
and stay with it. You'll get to where you want to go if you truly believe in their work and they truly believe in yours. I mean, like, life is uncontrollable for all of us, so it's just like whatever people's schedules it may be, that might be whatever. But if you found that strong where everyone can deliver what you need from everyone, I think that's what it's worth fighting for.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. No, I totally agree with that.
And then Chevry came along when?
So, man, I think Arno told me that they mentioned my name like maybe a year ago, and a little bit ago. I think they were just very busy with everything, and then we got a little closer after September 20, so like 6 months ago. So September 2024, and then yeah, man, they kind of came along, and you know, also with my latest release, I think it was really natural, organic, and then they kind of gave me, you want to join? I was like, yeah, for sure, 100%. I knew most of the artists, I'd known them for a bit, so it was good, and you know, mid-January, they did the announcement. And so it's all new to me, but it's been really good, really great. They're great people. They work really well, and it's just been very good.
Do you hear my cat in the background?
Yeah. Like, I want to give him some allergies.
Yeah, exactly. Please let me.
Like throwing peanuts at my face. Like, fuck.
Just this on your face. This. Damn, that's sick. And so it's fairly new, but do you feel the difference in having, because you were independent before?
Yeah, full independent, man. And I think that's why they didn't, maybe I'm wrong, but maybe they had the feeling that like, what could we provide to him if he's doing all this stuff alone, and maybe so I think there's all this mixtures, but like with them it's like I still do this kind of, you know, I get this feeling, maybe you get it, like the feeling it being independent in that sense, but like but you can't do it all on your own.
Yep.
So like having this community behind and people I can lean on is just like, I think that was just kind of the natural step for me in what I'm doing. So that's good, and it's been really good. I mean, they've booked up all weekends until like end of July.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah.
That's good feeling.
Good feeling, man. And I mean, I have some weddings and stuff, but like everything is booked up. Sometimes 2 weekends. Some stuff that I've booked before kind of thing. And was gonna say, and then and it's good. We gotten to know each other, so we're now friends, and it's good team. Everything's been good, so I'm happy.
Very cool. I got 2 last questions. The first one being related to this. It's, do you think for anyone that is kind of getting the hang of production, getting some following, do you think it's worth finding an agent or trying, or just waiting for someone to discover you?
I think I think I have an agent today, and it's good, but I think in this industry, if you really want to make it, I don't want to say that, but you're surrounded with your team, but you've got to be the drive of your own career.
Of course.
So like if you're starting off, like I think in most cases finding an agent really early stage
doesn't make sense.
I mean, if you're going to find the gigs because the agent's going to try to push you, but you're unknown, so like what can he do really? And then you're going to find gigs because you have connections, and then you're just going to be like, okay, so talk to my agent, he's going to take X%, and it doesn't make any sense. You found it yourself. And I think it only becomes interesting and to a higher level, if I may say, and also it is interesting because Sever is kind of a different agency than other agencies. Yeah,
I was talking about it with the
it's not just like
a collective kind of.
It's kind of a collective
label, cause it's just like a family,
Exactly. It's not just like they, you barely see them. They just call you there. You got a gig there. This is what you need to do. Bye.
Yeah.
We go for dinner. We go for drinks. We share things other than music.
Lots of dinners.
Lots of dinners. And we want more dinners, please.
More dinners, please.
More wine.
Natural wine. Yeah.
Joel, more wine.
Please. Exactly.
And so that's good. So I would just like to try to be a kind of independent entrepreneur, really early stage, and try to do it as much as you can until you can't anymore.
Yep. The leverage an agent really has is just like, it depends on their network of how many gigs that they can get you that you can't.
Yeah.
And also their community in this case that they've made that can be really supplemental to what you've built as well.
Exactly.
And if it makes sense.
Exactly.
And I think that's really important. So if it's more like a partnership, right?
Exactly.
Of these two things, and it seems like for me it made, like, when as a fan of both, seeing that made perfect sense.
Exactly.
It wasn't like
it wasn't that's weird or whatever.
Yeah. It was like, dude, like, of course.
No, that's good.
So my last question I would love to ask you is, what's next for you, and what's next for Stay at Home?
Yeah.
And I'd love to hear what you have in terms of goals that you want to do personally, and in this next journey to become like really immersed in your musical career.
What's next? Like, I'm gonna stop. Like I've mentioned before, like my day job. So it's taking some time, but it's a kind of family enterprise. So it takes some time to kind of leave. I've been there for 4 years, so it takes some time. But it's eventually, like, at the end of, like, for sure, like end of the year, early 2026, like January 2026, I won't have my computer, no emails related to that kind of thing. So that's good. So that's a big step. And in terms, so that's gonna give me more time for music, and now I'm gonna have to fill in kind of the gaps with music, so it's going to be interesting. So it's hard to kind of know right now how I'm going to fill in. I was working like 35 hours a week kind of job. So like and doing the music, so I was always active. So I'm still going to be active. So how am I going to do it? How am I going to fill in the gaps is something I think I will only know then. But I know that I'm going to obviously keep on producing. And since I've been touring much more in the last year, and when I tour, I don't produce.
Yeah.
So touring is tiring.
It takes a toll.
Yeah.
It takes a toll.
Exactly.
There's almost like no energy for the people that tour and make music. It's like big respect to them.
Yeah, dude, it's tiring, man. Like we just been here for like not even a week, but we did like 3-4 countries, and it's just like I have no time to think about like production, and I don't have the energy. And honestly, just kind of continuing what I've been doing, always pushing through. And I think, like you said, in the grander scheme of things, of having this scene becoming kind of more worldwide in some sense, I think I can position myself to be in this kind of below in some sense, and be part of the whole community that's going to be in that. So making sure that I'm in that, and keep on pushing to stay at home.
Yeah,
doing the same releases. I don't think I'll increase. I don't think I'll do more than 3 or 4 a year, which is a lot already.
One of the craziest labels everyone should
check
out right here.
Yeah, right there.
Craziest labels ever. Right
thank
now.
you, man. And yeah, man, just like continuing pushing forward. I don't think there will be new things coming up in the sense. I think I'll just like be more focused in me being an artist, and also helping Chevry like the idea of like I have like my fan base or connection bouncing back my connection, them wanting to book me, pushing them to Chevry, making sure that every weekend is booked, being that all organized and thorough.
You're about to make that next step.
Yeah, dude.
You're about to
yeah, dude. So that's good. So
it's
gonna be sick, man, and making sure that and yeah, dude. So that's kind of me pushing the same thing, but making sure to go to the next level. And
exactly, you don't always have to reinvent.
There's no reinvent.
Just level it
up. Focus, man.
Exactly. It's really just focus.
Yeah,
it's really just focus. Is there any particular dreams that you want to share in terms of what you want to achieve?
Man, I think it's just like kind of the idea, because when you like in the music industry, you have this idea that like, especially when you're going to be a DJ or producer DJ, the idea of like it's impossible to have an earning out of being a DJ.
Yeah.
And I just want to, I think, I mean, maybe I'm achieving this at the moment, but making sure that I'm able to have like live comfortably with just with music, and more and beyond, So like I think this is a good one, the financial part, because this is scary in the sense that like if I don't wake up in the morning, there's no money coming in.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
When you work for somebody or a standard job, like go there, come back, go there, come back, go there, come back. You're getting your paycheck. Obviously you got to do good work, but when you just rely on yourself, this is a little difficult. Sometimes stress, and
it's gonna be a whole new routine.
Yeah. And so yeah, man. So I think that's it.
Damn.
The last word is focus, and do sports every day.
Every day. Look at the sun.
Yeah. Keep healthy. Yeah, that's good.
Well, man, any last words you want to share before?
Just very excited for tomorrow.
Dude, super excited for tomorrow. It's gonna be exciting. We're gonna have Mr. Monsieur Adrien Calvet in Hatch Ballet on April 25th. And when this comes out, it'll probably be after. But you're going to see coverage of that. You're going to see coverage of this. And you can find him on Instagram with his name. And check out Stay at Home Records. So sick.
Thank you, man.
Thank you.
A
pleasure.
Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much. Thank you.